Jean-Luc, merci à tous et merci aux organisateurs.
Thank you, Jean-Luc. Thank you to you all. Thank you very much to the organizers, the investors and partners, and for the support of Proparco.
C'est très intéressant
It's really interesting to speak just after Jean-Michel Severino to present Guanamad, because this company is a perfect illustration of what we just said. We could almost tick all the boxes. It's the illustration of how to have a huge impact with very few resources. An impact on food safety, an impact on rural development, economic and social development in rural areas, because as you probably know, 75% of all land in Madagascar is agricultural land, on impact on the protection of the soils and the environment. And all that is done with very few resources, because the natural resources that this company uses, Guanamad, is animal waste. Animal waste, which is actually bat waste. So the person who's going to talk about this has been named the new Batman in Africa. Batman, yes, of course. Well, he likes bats. And from this amazing experience, which started in 2005 from nothing, the social impact is already very significant. In less than 10 years, more than 200 jobs direct jobs have been created, and through indirect job creation, 800 people. So, as you can imagine, several thousand people with their families are employed directly or indirectly through Guanamad. And the international press focused on this experience almost at the same time that the investor, INF, Fund, African Venture Investment Funds, at the same time as the Entrepreneur Leadership Network, said that Eric Rajanari and Guanamad were the winners of the category of SMEs for Forbes Africa. You have a copy at the entrance on focused on Guanamad. Eric spoke in MIT in Boston, and today, here is Eric today with the club and with your help. So we're going to start with a short video, 5-minute video. We'll tell you the story, and then we'll have a discussion with Eric and yourself.
Guanamad a été créé en 2006. L'activité principale de Guanamad repose sur l'extraction et la commercialisation du bas de guano, qui est un engrais bio à base de fientes de chauve-souris. Les produits Guanamad sont sujets à des contrôles de qualité stricts, allant du contrôle de l'extraction, de l'analyse en laboratoire, du traitement technique et enfin du conditionnement. Certifiés EcoCert, ils répondent aujourd'hui aux normes internationales. À ce jour, Guanamad commercialise 6 types de produits. Vous avez l'engrais standard, on a ensuite l'engrais riche en éléments fertilisants et enfin l'engrais riche en matière organique. L'objectif étant aujourd'hui d'élargir la gamme de nos produits. Les engrais Guanamad sont adaptés à tout type de culture et nous avons la possibilité d'offrir à nos clients un produit à la carte suivant sa demande. Guanamad aujourd'hui, c'est au niveau de la situation du marché local, est le premier producteur d'engrais bio. Guanamad aujourd'hui, c'est 250 distributeurs à Madagascar. Aujourd'hui, Guanamad exporte pratiquement dans tous les continents.
The award for the Outstanding Small and Growing Business goes to Eric Rajawani, the founder of Guanamad.
Okay. Oof. Batman is winner.
Avec la commercialisation du produit Guanamad, aujourd'hui je véhicule 4 thèmes. 4 thèmes qui sont vraiment fondamentaux, 4 concepts fondamentaux. Le premier d'abord, c'est la lutte contre la crise alimentaire. À travers nos produits, on développe l'agriculture et donc en développant l'agriculture, on lutte contre justement cette insécurité alimentaire. Deuxièmement, c'est le développement de l'agriculture biologique, puisque c'est un produit bio. Et donc, à travers ça, je défends les idées, à savoir que ça protège le sol, que ça améliore la qualité du sol, que c'est bien pour la faune, pour la flore et pour les humains également. Troisièmement également, c'est le développement rural. Toutes les zones un peu enclavées deviennent désenclavées, puisque je crée des pistes, je crée de l'emploi, puisque tous ceux qui travaillent aujourd'hui dans les grottes, ce sont des saisonniers. Et en même temps, on verse également une ristourne, par exemple, aux communes, aux Fouctanes et à la région. Et enfin, quatrième point, c'est la protection de l'environnement. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, ce qui dit bio, dit aujourd'hui protection de l'environnement. La faune, la flore et les humains également. Investir économiquement ne suffit pas. Mais il faut savoir partager au travers les actions sociales, surtout pour un pays en voie de développement. Nous avons créé depuis 2011 un département RSE qui justement a pour objectif de mettre en place toutes ces actions sociales. À travers l'association Guanomad for All, ou encore en malgache on peut dire Guanomad Mzar, ou Guanomad pour tous, nous avons plusieurs orientations. Il y a Guanomad éducation, il y a Guanomad pour la jeunesse, il y a Guanomad pour la formation, il y a Guanomad pour la santé. Et toutes ces activités-là s'orientent toujours au sein du même concept, c'est-à-dire participer aux actions sociales à Madagascar.
Ny ankizy eto aminay zany matetika tsy misakafo maraina zazo roa mandeha aty an-tsekoly aty. Dia ilay ankizy na za mihinana kely na tena tsy mihinana mihitsy fa dia efa miandry ilay fiverenana indray aman-dreny mivarotra vao misy an'ilay sakafo hohanina.
Bon, tonga aty zany izahay no lasa Guanomad dia zary kely mofo anareo.
Nous, en tant que société Guanomad, nous avons un rôle très important à jouer aujourd'hui pour le développement de ce pays, notamment sur la base de l'éducation. Parce que c'est un grand fléau à Madagascar. Les enfants ne mangent pas suffisamment et malheureusement ne fréquentent pas l'école.
Namatsy anay amina ronono sy mofo gasy zany Guanomad. Ankizy tsirairay eto amin'ny sekoly mihitsy zany no amena ny ronono sy mofo gasy io isan'andro. Mandeha ara-moraly fotsiny ara zany dia efa hoe misy sakafo ampianaranao miandry anay. Eo koa fanampiana ara-aina zany sakafo no aina dia mazoto ny ankizy mandeha aty an-tsekoly.
Aujourd'hui, Madagascar compte 22 millions d'habitants. 90%, plus de 90% des Malgaches aujourd'hui vivent en dessous de $2 par jour. Aujourd'hui, je pense qu'on a atteint vraiment le seuil de pauvreté maximum à Madagascar. Madagascar a eu son indépendance en 1960, ça fait à peu près 54 ans aujourd'hui que le Madagascar. Et je crois qu'elle a connu quelques hauts, mais beaucoup de bas. Donc je lance un appel à tous ceux qui veulent participer avec les actions sociales de Guanomad. Il faut aider ce pays à se relever. L'avenir du pays aujourd'hui, c'est l'éducation. L'avenir du pays aujourd'hui, ce sont les jeunes. Il faut les aider. Avec $1 aujourd'hui, on peut habiller convenablement un enfant. Avec $1 aujourd'hui, on peut payer 2 repas. Avec $1 aujourd'hui, on peut acheter 10 baguettes de pain. Et avec $1, on peut construire le pays. Tous ensemble.
Merci, c'est un film très
intéressant. Thank you very much. It was a very interesting film.
Donc Frank, Eric.
So Frank, Eric.
Alors, Eric, effectivement, on le voit très nettement dans cette vidéo.
As we can see
tu
quite clearly in this video,
d'intérêt général. D'ailleurs, ton parcours personnel, c'est quand même la haute administration à Madagascar. Et le nom
you
même
were
de
trained
ton
at high
entreprise,
administration in
Guanomad,
Madagascar,
résume le
and
tout.
the name of your
Guano,
company,
donc les
Guanomad,
sciences de
summarizes
chauve-souris,
everything.
pour
Guano
Madagascar.
bat guano and Madagascar because of Madagascar's development. Can you tell us about the objective of the situation in Madagascar? What was your initial vision? Good morning to you all. Yes, the situation in Madagascar is slightly desperate. I think Guanomad has quite an important role to play. Just to give you a few figures on Madagascar. Nowadays, in Madagascar, we have 35 million cultivable hectare. 10% is currently being used. 72% of the population is rural-based population, and about 70% about 80% of the population works in agriculture. And nowadays, our farmers' participation in GDP is less than 30%. So we have very important potential. And I think that in the film we saw that we are developing the four main themes: commercialization of product. We're fighting food insecurity. That is, we tell people that if we want to get Madagascar out of poverty, we need to go through agriculture. And also, in the video, we saw the protection of the environment, because we are fighting deforestation, and there also is rural development, because there are about 120 caves in Madagascar, which are completely enclaved. We create roads, we create jobs, we pay royalties. We are ticking all of Michel Savonneau's boxes, aren't we? Yes, of course. And because beyond that, there's the development of the organic farming. So we have a project nowadays called Subigaso. We work with the local community, with local towns. The local towns give land to farmers, and we help these farmers. We give fertilizers, information. And at the beginning it was 100% Guanomad, but their potential investors, potential buyers, because we want Madagascar to move forward in agriculture. We want to give them the right example. And lately we had a TV show, which is Umatitutu, The World is Green. And this is a daily TV show on national TV, which is reports on guano, and at the same time on the things I was talking about now. So we've had this TV show for 3 years now. And when we were preparing, because I was very lucky, because I got to work with you and Thierry Rajon, it didn't prevent this general interest focus. It didn't stop investment funds focusing on Guanomad. Despite the difficult crisis period, you managed to overcome. Yes, that's true. Before the political crisis in 2009, we grew very fast. We went from 300 tons to 13,000 tons in just 3 years. With the crisis, the growth slowed down, and we were looking for investment funds. And at the beginning, there was an investment fund from Madagascar, but the investment fund was playing more of a role of a community investment. They said, give us money, we'll give you money if you give us results. And we found a special investment fund focused on agriculture from South Africa. And thanks to the funds, and FGSHIN, which is present here today, it allowed us to roll out a bit more. And what they measured was the social impact, because we had a company that was slowing down, but they measured the social impact. And that had many consequences. There was a financial help, and there's also another kind of funding facility. They gave us several $1,000 over a few years, and it allowed us to develop jobs like exports to Eastern Africa, communication, marketing in Madagascar, and reinforcing of distribution capacity. So anyway, in the end of the day, all this assistance that we got from our funds had an impact on local economies and also an impact on the African economy, because today, thanks to the technical assistance facility, we're exporting to Eastern Africa, Kenya, Tanzania and Zambia today. And before we close, before we give the public the floor, what is your strategy for the future? Well, our strategy for the future is returns. We're not an NGO. Profits. To give an example to Madagascar, that there are SMEs like us who can do RCE, because RCE is not well known in Madagascar. Guanumad is known as a fertilizer of the Green Revolution and so on, but also because of a social project. To answer your question, our objective is to develop products in Eastern Africa, especially and in the States, because in the States we have many contacts. Thanks to my presentation in MIT in Boston, we have many contacts. This is a market niche, but it has a huge potential for the States. This is a very profitable niche. To give you an idea, in the States, we can sell up to $600 to $700 a ton, and nowadays they sell it for $3,500 a ton. There's also good management of natural resources. Nowadays, we have 120 caves in Madagascar, and we could produce up to 20 tons per day per production site, so we can go up to 100 tons per day. So this management of resources, why? Because it's a natural product. So it must be renewed, and it renews itself every 10 to 20 years. We have a technique for the best possible management of this natural resource. And one final point is that we want to be the first organic producer in Africa. As what Mr. Severino said, in Africa there is an issue with soil in Africa, and we have a problem with this in Kenya. They worked a lot on returns and profits. Nowadays they have an issue with soil, and we've already exported several containers of guano for the yield of the soil. And I think that Guanumad plays a very important role in Eastern Africa and other countries as well, who have issues with soil quality, because Guanumad can be mixed with chemical fertilizers. And other countries, well, we're a very poor continent, and people focus a lot on yield. When you talk about organic, they say, what's the yield for rice, for example? For rice, we're about 4 to 5 tons per hectare. If you use chemical fertilizers, you can reach 7 to 8, even 9 tons, but it's very short term. But people don't think of long term. They want immediate profitability. They want immediate yield. And it's very difficult to make our peasants, especially in Madagascar, to understand this, because they realize after several years using chemical fertilizers, they realize they need to use guano. So gradually they roll out from chemical. You bring them a little guano, and they manage to mix it with chemical fertilizers, and they gradually manage to move away from chemical fertilizers. So now we're going to give questions to the floor. If you could just give a brief introduction, say who you are. Maybe Jean-Luc. Jean-Luc, you have a first question. Yes, I had one question. It's not politically correct because it's quite close to current affairs. Guanumad is bat. Guano bats are extremely bad in some countries of Western Africa. Just imagine something happen like that in Madagascar. What would happen? And another thing, do you have any competitors? Are you in a global market? And if that's the case, what exactly? To answer the first question, now, this question had been asked on Ebola. Now, when you export, we do microbiological analysis, or physicochemical analysis, and if there were Ebola, we've been operating in these caves since 2016, we'd have seen Ebola before 2013 and 14. And on top of that, the species with which we work are not affected by Ebola nowadays, but they're not affected by this virus. We work on microchiropters, which are bats who eat insects. They swallow about 200 to 300 mosquitoes per night. So we're not concerned by this. We've already done many studies with the Institut Pasteur in the field to see if there weren't an Ebola vector. As for competitors, there is guano. I'm not the inventor of guano. And as you know, especially in Latin America, it's more maritime birds in Latin America, so we do have competitors, but in Latin America, we've been using this since the 19th century, and all the wealth of Auguste de Dreyfus was based on the import of guano from seabirds, you can Google it, type in Dreyfus and guano from Peru, but nowadays the stocks are depleted, and when they export they've got a quota, but we're very lucky because we got on the market 7 to 8 years ago, and we still have lots and lots of guano nowadays, and we're not scared of competitors nowadays. And it's not the same products. We produce bat guano, and it's theirs is bird guano, so it's not the same. Any questions from the floor? Give your name, please.
Oui, bonjour, Firouz de Ladec.
Firouz de Ladec, Director of Rothschild Foundations. I had the opportunity of going to Madagascar about 10 years ago, maybe in those days. This was maybe one of the very positive points you talked about in the film. I was surprised by the fact that there were many international organizations like UNDP and the World Bank with whom we worked. And 2 questions now. How do these major donors invest in you, and how do they focus on a company like yours? What does their investment represent to such a day? Now, these donors, well, we had a political crisis in 2009 with the 2013 political elections, and all donors are coming back to Madagascar since the beginning of 2014, including the IMF. And to answer your question, as I said at the beginning, we based ourselves on 300 tons in 2006, 13 tons nowadays. We multiplied my revenue by 13, and it's thanks to donors, the IMF, the World Bank, the EU said, we have an organic product, so why not launch it to Madagascar? So from one day to the next, because in general we have projects in the green what we call green revolution, it's 70 to 80% of it is mostly chemical fertilizers. And they said, we have an organic product created in Madagascar, it's organic, it creates jobs, it's not quite expensive chemical fertilizers. We know all its qualities nowadays, so we're going to launch this project. And it's thanks to these donors that I was able to get my price known. And the World Food Organization works a lot with Guanomad and all the projects funded by the World Food Organization every year are financed by this. Thanks to that, we have this organic. So, I had one question. Could you tell us a little more about the actions that you are carrying out to make sure that the resources which are the basis of your activity, the resources you're going to be using aren't going to deplete, aren't going to become low quality because they're being used, because bats are a protected species. We all know that. So what do you do to make sure that these bats aren't bothered by the use of their guano? That's my first point. My second point, the laborers you use, the seasonal laborers you use, what do you do to make sure that this labor is not impacted by this? We talked about Ebola, but there are many other viruses that can be transmitted through bats. So what do you do to make sure that your activity is sustainable? Good morning.
question, justement, déjà pour la gestion, sur la gestion rationnelle des ressources.
On the management of resources.
Aujourd'hui, donc,
intelligent management of resources.
Ce qu'on appelle un engrais à la carte.
Nowadays, we have ad hoc, bespoke fertilizers, and we have other things which are put into our guano, like nitrogen and phosphate. Like nitrogen, for example, we mix it with other chemical products. As for tea needs lots of nitrogen. So at the beginning, we'd supply about 800 kilos per hectare of guano for tea to make up for the lack in nitrogen. And we completed the quantity of guano by about 500 kilos. Instead of 500 kilos, we're about 300 kilos. We bring in about 150 of a special type of flour and so on. It allows us to manage our resources better. To answer your question, question. On the protection of species, we have some specifications. I'm sure you're aware of this because you work with us on that. With your funds, we have some specifications where we do respect laborers' hours in the caves. And one thing you mustn't forget, I hope you'll have the opportunity of going to several caves. They've got compartments, and you work in compartments where there are almost no bats. Why? Because there's so much guano, they can't live in them, so they have to move. And one thing we became aware of, some of the caves we've been working on for past 5 to 6 years, they've emptied themselves out, and the species are coming back to these sites, and they repopulate themselves automatically. So we really help with repopulation, bat repopulation. Another thing, before we exploited these sites, the people of Madagascar would eat bats, and we are educating people with saying, watch out, those bats are protected species. This is what they do for us. They give us fertilizers, it creates jobs, and so on and so on. So there was also a question on the protection of the staff, so protecting the laborers. Well, you can't see this in the film, but they are protected. They have protective equipment, they've got special shoes, they've got helmets, and there's a medical analysis every single quarter for all our seasonal staff and permanent staff.
Merci Eric.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Frank.